rainy living room. It's quite a yucky day out, so I've got some lights on around us. I hope it's going to be bright enough. I wanted to say that one of the weirdest things about doing this is not having feedback from you guys, that I always ask, how are you doing? What do I need to know about what's going on? So I have to make a lot of assumptions, but please let me know. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how it feels. I know a lot of you are really new. I hope you're getting to see this. The big thing to remember is to keep that neutral spine. Sometimes what I'll do, especially when you're on the floor and you don't have the padding of the reformer machine to really feel what it's like, is I take a little pencil eraser and I'll just tuck it right under the low back so that if I lose neutral, I can feel it, but it's not sharp or uncomfortable or anything. Just so that you know a little bit more feedback about whether or not when you're lying down, if your back is staying neutral or not. So the first thing I wanted to do today, making assumptions, was just take a breath, because I think it's a universal truth that we could just use a breath. It's going to be it's called box breathing. All you're going to do is breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. That's it. We're just going to do a couple of rounds. Take a breath in, hold, let it out, hold, breathe in, hold, out, hold. One more time. Good. It's a really nice controlled breath, 4, 4, 4, and 4. The thing about breathing is that we only have 2 ways into our sympathetic nervous system directly, the fight or flight response. One is through our eyes. So the act of closing your eyes cuts off all that sensation, that stimulus, that input, and that can help calm everything. And the act of breathing triggers the vagal nerve that runs, or the vagus nerve that runs the whole length of your body. And when the vagus is stimulated, the fight or flight is de-stimulated. So controlling your breathing and also controlling what you see or don't see helps to calm that whole stress response thing, which is probably really going to be useful today and for the next bunch of days. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, again, making assumptions, I've been sitting at the computer a whole lot, so the whole upper back is frustrated with me, to be nice about it. So I've got the looser elastic bands. I've got 2 of them, and I knotted them together and I wrapped them around my couch leg. If you don't have bands, you can practice this without, but I really want you to make it work. Don't just arms up and down, but find those shoulder blade muscles, those upper back muscles, and get them involved in what you're doing. So since we're not on the machine, it is legal to sit with your legs crossed. I'm usually not going to let you do that, but we're at home. Have a cookie, cross your legs, it's okay. So just got the ends of the bands. We want to sit right up on top of your sits bones. Keep that back nice and neutral without the chest or the chin jutting, and then hinge the whole thing forward so that gravity is working on your back. We're starting in goal post, so the hands over the shoulders, elbows about parallel to the floor. Press up and back down again. Now the goal here is to wake up the muscles up and down the spine, all around the shoulder blades, and in between the rib bones, so that they do the work instead of either the shrug muscles, or in my case, the muscles that would arch your back forward. Those are the ones that I've been overusing, trying to get closer to my computer monitor, like it's my new best friend. So I want to get everything else woken up. You can see the flowers on the bottom side of my arms, down my sides of my shirt, where they join in at my armpits and go down. Those are some muscles that we're trying to wake up to. Relax that down. Now I'm going to flip the handles, the bands, so that they're underneath. My thumbs are forward. And just reach one forward and then the other one forward. Now if you have a lot of weight, this would really be about the chest and the front of the shoulders. But really, we're still working the resistance. We're working the return. So for me, that was a little too loose. Gave you a little bit more slack here. Bringing it back with control. We exhale against the reach. But control the return. Trying to feel it around the bottom of your shoulder blades, where those muscles come around your rib cage under your armpit. Good. And one that we can do here, we wouldn't normally be able to do on the machine because of where everything else is come to the ends of that reach, or if you don't have bands, reach your arms open, and we're going to do that fly forward, but with some resistance from behind. So we're going to reach those arms wide, come forward with your toes pulled up, reach up into the upper back stretch, then open just to a T. We're not dropping down to the floor. Forward towards your feet, up for the back, and open. Very nice. Good. That was a nice little stretch. Okay, so I'm going to undo the bands. Maybe. And now I've got two separates here. I'm also going to shift position, trying to figure out where you can see my feet. Oh, there they are. Okay. So I'm going to loop one of these around your foot. And again, for that upper back, we've got the hand in this position. Now typically we have the handle, so we're doing the flip. We don't have the handle. So just keep your palm facing your side as you pull and turn. This has the added benefit of strengthening your foot. Because if during this your foot is rolling or flexing back and you can't support it, then you know you need to build some more muscles in there. We've got that hinge forward through the upper body, but it's not extreme. It's just enough to get the upper back engaged. One more time. Good, so we're going to raise the arm up. The elbow is about at shoulder height, but the hand is a smidge lower and it's coming towards the shoulder, that collarbone. One more time. Nice. I'm going to flip my hand upside down and hinge back a bit and just do that single bicep curl. Just because I'm here. If you want to make it harder, bring that arm out and then try not to let the armpit move so that this isn't pulling back to just pulling up. Good. And then we'll do the other foot so we can do the other side. Good. Hinged forward in that little turn. This shoulder blade is much madder at me because I tend to sit crooked at my desk for no good reason. Good, up to that shoulder height, and the elbow pulls out. I'm only reaching as far forward as the resistance goes. Any looser and the band's going to fall down my foot. I don't want that to happen. Good. Now, flip your hand, hinge back, and a little bicep. Good. Ooh, elbow crack. Just starting to get the abs doing some stuff with that hinge back. And again, if you want to make it a little bit harder, reach the elbow all the way forward. One more time. Good. Now, we don't have the machine. We don't have the spring resistance. So in the first video that I did, we did a little bit of standing plies. We're going to do what's called floor bar. So the standing plies would be typical to like a bar class. Floor bar is what dancers will do when they're injured and they can't actually do all of it standing, do all that resistance. But it's going to be the same plie kind of move lying down. It's going to be the same kind of move as if you were on the foot bar, except your legs are going to be going up in the air. So I'm going to use, missed it, this piece of wall here. This is really the only open wall that I have in my house, sort of actually like moving my couch out of the way, that you'd also be able to see with this little camera set up. So imagine that this isn't just an edge, that this is really like, you know, a whole wall. So some of the time, one of my feet won't be on it, and you'll just have to pretend that there's a wall there. So what I'm going to do is hope you can still see me. Find that out when I lay down. Yeah, that'll do for now. I'm going to get a little bit closer. Now, I'm getting my hip right up against the wall, and we're going to pretend that this foot is also up against a wall. And all we're going to do is turn out those toes. My butt is very lightly touching that wall, and we're going to keep the heels on the wall as we come down and as we go up. This is one of those things that looks really ridiculously easy, and it's not. Inhale, because the gravity part's easy. On the up. Keeping those heels against the wall might mean that you don't come down so far. The wider you can get your knees, the more range of motion you're getting through those hips. And still that neutral spine. One more time. Now, if you're up against a wall, you would widen your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Again, we're just going to pretend that there's a wall there for that leg. Toes are still turned out. And the same idea, down and up. This should really get your hips. You should get the top of your hamstrings, your hip sockets. One more time. Good. Bring them together for that little bit of a rest. Now, we're going to do some bridging. Again, we did bridging last time. You could put your feet on the bottoms of your couch to bridge up. I also have 2 yoga blocks that you could put your feet on top and bridge up. Or if you really want to make it fun, you put your feet up the wall and then you lift your hips up into the bridge. Now, you're too close to the wall. So I am going to move away from it a little bit. And I'm also going to use the corner of the wall, again, just so you can see better. This wouldn't be ideal under normal circumstances, but you want to be pretty close to the wall. Not necessarily up against it, though, like we were. That's not be fun at all. My feet are too slippery for that, and I left my toe socks at the center. All right, so we've got our feet on a flat wall. Roll your hips up into that bridge and back down again. So when you lift up, you don't want to be pushing backwards. You don't want to be coming onto the back of your head. The back of your neck's not keeping you in place. You're lifting up onto the shoulder blades, not back. Now we're only going to go down 2 inches and lift, lift, lift. One more. Since we're here, your feet are flat. We're going to take one leg up into the air. Now, if this is all that you can do, stay there. Otherwise, pulse, pulse. One more. Bring that one down. If you need a break, take a break. Other one's up. We're lifting from your core, not by rounding your low back. One more. And again, if you need to take a break, take a break. Otherwise, take that first leg back up. Now what we're going to do is bring it back over your head, bend the knee, and reach right up to where your wall meets the ceiling. Over your head, bend your knee right up to that corner. And then we're going to reverse it. So the knee comes in, it goes overhead, up towards the ceiling. Knee, reach, ceiling, knee, reach, ceiling. Put that foot down. And the other one, it goes over, bend, reach, over, bend, reach, and reverse. Knee, reach, ceiling. One more. And everybody roll it down. Very nice. Good. Little stretch, little low back stretch. Now I'm going to come over so that I'm more on this mat. You can see what's going on. I hope. Let me turn this a little more sideways. Good. Now I'm right up against this couch so that you've got a little bit more of a view here. So I'm not going to be able to move my one arm all the way. That's all right. Wherever you are, you want to be able to get both your arms out on the floor. I finally stopped and picked up a Pilates ring, which is going to come in handy. Now, if you don't have a ring, you can use yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you can pretend. You can use a little ball, something that's light, something that's really light, even a nice rolled up towel that you roll up and then sort of fold in half so that you've got something a little bit bulky to hold on to, because we're going to put it between your ankles. I know, we're at home and I'm still making you do ring between the ankles. It's terrible. Now this is where that little pencil eraser can really come in handy, because you don't want to go completely flat. So when you've got that pencil eraser in place, you should about not be able to feel it, right? But if you shift just the littlest bit, boom, there it is. However, in a good neutral position and a good eraser position, you can just feel it. So that if you arch a little bit, you also lose the feeling of the eraser, and that's not what we want either. We want to actually stay neutral. So we've got whatever it is between your ankles, or you're completely ignoring me because I can't see you today and you don't have anything between your ankles, but your toes are pointed, your knees are out, arms are going to go all the way up overhead, and just do a few arms to feel that when the arms go back, you're not lifting your chest. It doesn't raise up to the ceiling. And then when the arms get about halfway, curl up and reach back again. Hey, you don't flatten that eraser when you curl up. You're not tucking your hips. Let's hold this one all the way up. Still not flattening your eraser. And as if we had the handles, we're going to lower the legs a bit, but breathe backwards. So at the bottom, you're not losing that eraser. One more time. Good. And hey, we'll take that ring out. Let's take a hamstring stretch while we're here, which is still not flat. You're still neutral here so that you get the maximum hamstring stretch. If you flatten, well, then you just give. And none of this is actually stretching, even though your feet came back, as if that was important. What's important is that you get from the soles of your feet to the low back, that hamstring stretch. While we're here, I'm going to grab my bands again, and we'll do some foot straps. Now, you could do this with a belt. Well, with 2 belts. But if you do it with 2 belts, make sure they're 2 of the same kinds of belts. So 2 rope belts, 2 leather belts. Because you don't want one leg to have more give than the other. So, we're going to bring the feet down to tabletop. We're going to curl at the head and shoulders, and we're going to reach one leg out. And we're going to change. And then we're going to keep that one leg straight and come up as the other one goes out, and we'll change up and down. You might not go all the way down. That's all right. Just keep your back neutral. Bring the feet back together, turn them out, bring them in. Adjust if you need anything adjusting. My hands were starting to slip. Curled up, and we're going to do both legs. So these are like the frogs in foot straps, which means you don't have to be curled up because the bands are supporting your low back as well. But you could curl. It's hard to keep your feet together. Now let's bring one leg in, and we'll change, brushing past, heels together, toes wide. One more. Good. Then bring them both up for that hamstring stretch. And again, like in foot straps, we're going to pull them down. Just as far as you can go without arching. And with that neutral, getting your hamstring stretch. And then at the top, turn out the toes, which is a different stretch, and pull that down. One more time. So we're going to cross-legged stretch, which you can do with that band if you want to. The one that's across is loose. The top one is right over that kneecap and pulling in, or you could let the bands go and just reach under and grab that leg. But it's kind of fun. So that top leg has the control. Stretching both hips. See if at this point those hips are uneven or if they're both equally tight. Good. So we're going to do a series we wouldn't normally do on the machine. But on the machine we might do like the on the belly series, where we've got that bar and we're lifting up and we've got the pulling against the springs. Those are Supermans, you know, in training at the gym or something, which are good. But to really get that back work, I want to do a different set here. Now, we're going to come into hands and knees. One more thing is some people really can't do the hands flat on the floor. So you've got an option, which is just to put your knuckles down. And if you do, the thumb's going to come out all the way. If that's not comfortable, you could put something like, I'm going to put my shirt over my hands just so that it's not digging into the mat so hard because the shirt's smoother than the mat. Or you could fold your mat up a couple of times, get a towel to put under your hands. We want to keep the hands right under the shoulders and the knees right under the hips. Oops, there's my eraser. Don't need that right now. We're going to take one leg straight out behind you, and all you're going to do, move forward so you can see more of that leg, is lift the leg just so it's parallel to the floor and put it back down. We're not coming up so high that your back is arching, just parallel to the floor and down. So this is working your hamstrings, but it's also working in your pelvis to keep your back from moving. And that's a really important piece, that we can stabilize the pelvis against this hip extension, against your leg going back. And we're going to keep it here and pulse it up, up, up. But again, it's all hamstring. No waist, no low back. One more. And we'll kneel it down and reach the other one out and lift it just parallel and back down again. So the exercise is as much the back of the leg as it is the hips and pelvis not moving. And keep it parallel and just a little pulse up, up, up. One more, and we'll kneel that down. Now, in this position, I'm going to come hands flat down to the floor because we're going to be switching back and forth. I'm going to take that first leg back out and the opposite arm out. Now, when that arm's out, we're not all up by the shoulder. Keep the shoulders back, and we're going to lift arm and leg. So there's some balance. One more. Bring it in, switch and reach. 5. There's that hip control, so the back isn't arching. Bring it in, switch and reach. 4, 3, 2, and the transition that it comes down, reaches, and 4, 3 is really important. So those hands and knees land where they need to. 3, 2, 1, kneel, reach, 3, wait, 2, we did that one already. Now I've lost count. I think it's 2, and 1, 2, and 1. Now we go back and forth. Reach, lift, kneel. Reach, lift, kneel. Reach, lift, kneel. Reach, kneel. One more round. And from here, come into a child's pose. And just pretend I'm there. Pushing on your hips. One hip opposite shoulder stretches out. And then switch to the other hip and the other opposite shoulder. And then between your tailbone and the top of your back, nice and long. Good. Alrighty, so again, if you have your bands, grab your band. Only need one. If you don't, you can do this without the band. But I want you to pretend that there's band there, that there's resistance there, that there's a foot strap there, and it's really going to be work for you. Because we're going to line your side. And we're going to hook your foot in that band. Now, you could stay propped up if you wanted to, because of the position of the band as compared to when you've got the strap on your foot. You could do that. A lot of people find it very uncomfortable. And that bottom hip, so if you go all the way down, you can go straight down, you can bend the elbow, you can prop the elbow, you can do one of these, or you're at your own house. Get a pillow and put it under your head. That's okay too. You want to have that bottom knee pulled in out of the way. The top knee is about parallel to it. And there's a tendency to be turning the foot up to the ceiling. Try to keep the foot parallel to the floor and the knee parallel to the floor. And you're just going to kick straight out. So I align my arm right along my waist, and my hips are stacked up. So that I'm kicking straight out of my hip as if there was a foot bar down there. One more time. Now we're going to bring it forward and back. one more time. And now we're going to do, if you remember sometimes on the foot bar with single legs, we do a développé. We're going to do that again. We did one when we were doing the wall bridges to the side. So we're going to bring the knee in, up, and all the way down. Tracing your foot along that straight line between your bottom foot and your hip. In, up, and down. And then we're going to do a big circle. Bring the leg forward, bring it up and down. And again, you don't have to have a band for this, but if you don't, really take it slow and make it work. Bring it forward and hold so we can reverse. Back, up, and down. Good. Now, on the machine, when you've got the band, the stretch is to bring that foot in front of the bottom knee and stretch through there. That might not be comfortable, in which case you can just bring the knees together or drop that knee down on the floor. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to flip over. Flip your foot. Now I've got to remember the order. That bottom knee is in out of the way. Align your arm right along your waist. The foot and the knee are both parallel to the floor, and you just kick. And then keep it straight and draw it forward. One more. And then that développé where we go in, up, and down. In, up, and down. One more. And then we're going to do that big circle. Bring it forward, lift it up,